the session recording as well. Okay, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for investing an hour of your day today. Those of you who are in UK Europe time zone, your lunchtime. Those of you who are a bit further afield, it might be afternoon or evening for you. But thank you for joining us. I'm really pleased. I'm really excited about today's session. Let me just kind of set the scene. So I like to think about creating deliberate thinking time, which is something that is really rare in our businesses nowadays. And you will all know, being in busy sales and sales leadership roles, that this is really precious. This time to slow down, kind of step away from the treadmill that is the day-to-day work that we all do, and create some clear thinking space. It's time that is really rare and precious. So I just want to give you a reminder of that today. This is an opportunity for you to have some clear thinking time today. And you've seen the agenda already, but let me just talk about what Rosa and I will cover with you today. We're going to talk about maximizing sales and efficiency using artificial intelligence. We'll look at what impact AI is having today in sales. We'll then talk about some AI tools and practically what could you be doing and using when it comes to AI. For those of you who are perhaps at the start of your AI journeys, it'll be useful. For those of you who are a bit further on, it'll also be useful because Rosa's got some great insights that she's planning to share with you today as well. We'll look at how we leverage those tools to accelerate growth without adding complexity. And I think that's one of the pieces of feedback I get very often from clients is, it seems really complicated, it seems really complex. How do we utilize it without bombarding people or confusing them? And that's something we'll cover today as well. And then we'll look at proven ways to increase efficiency and productivity through your sales process, and then some real world examples of AI in action and a best practice live discussion, which I'll talk about in a moment. And what we'll be doing in this session is I've created this live AI sales coach, and I'm using it with my clients, and some of you are on here already. I can see you. Thanks for joining. And I wanted to give us a chance to practice using that coach today. So I'm just going to get the chat up and running. So for those of you who are new to Zoom, you might see at the bottom of the toolbar, there is a button that says chat. I'm just going to get that chat alive. So here's the chat. And as we go through the session, I'd love for you to put into the chat if there is a specific situation or sales challenge that you have right now, put it in the chat. And when we come to the end of the session, we'll see if we can utilize your challenge or your situation to really kind of get you some advice using the AI sales coach. And that hopefully is going to demonstrate to you some of the value that we can get from using AI alongside what we're doing in our businesses. So that's the plan for later on. So please do feel free to jump in there. Before we get started, I also wanted to give us a chance just to introduce ourselves. Some of you will know me, some of you will know Rosa, but I'd love to introduce Rosa. Thanks so much for joining me today to run this session. Rosa, over to you. I'd love to hear your intro.
Thank you again for joining us as well. For the ones that were early or a little later, my name is Rosa Yupari, and I am a person that went from engineer all the way to chief revenue officer, most of the time in telecom. And Justin and I share something. We both worked for 3M for a long time. So we do have some of that training and backgrounds you get for sales. But the AI part is something that I'm very passionate about. And I've been talking about AI for about 2 years now, and about how to implement it into sales without being overwhelmed with tools, which is something that I encounter. So I'm so excited about sharing some of the tools that have actually worked for some of the sales and teams that I've been training. Excited to share them with you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Rosa, and thanks for investing your time today as well to share your knowledge. And you'll see Rosa's details are on the screen. I will also share those at the end of today's session. So if you want to connect with Rosa on LinkedIn, or if you'd like to message Rosa for more details, then you'll have the chance to do that as well. I think many of you will know me, but for those of you who don't, as Rosa says, we have one kind of strong career move in common. That is our work at 3M. My background has been in sales and sales management, and then up to kind of general management over the course of about 25 years. About 8 years ago, I decided I wanted to change from the corporate world. So I went into coaching and consulting, and I retrained as an executive coach. And one of the things that I took for granted when I was in corporate that I didn't realize was really valuable was the simple foundations that we can put in place to get the right fundamentals of sales growth, sales effectiveness in place. And as I started to work with clients in my executive coaching business, I realized that actually it's really easy for us to slip into inconsistencies, negativities, and of course that starts to affect performance and results. So very often actually, and hopefully you'll get this from today, it's just about coming back to some of those key fundamentals. How do you re-engage yourself and your teams? How do you get greater consistency? How do you focus on performance? And that delivers results. And along the way, I've had a bit of recognition, which has been very welcome. One of the things I also have invested in is the writing of a book, and the book that I wrote was called Inspire, Influence, Sell. And we'll talk a bit about that as we get to the sales coach part later on in the session, because that sales coach is pre-trained with all of that content. But that's enough about me. I'd love to hear from you. So we've got a couple of polls to get us started today. The first poll is this one about what percentage of businesses do you think aren't using AI today? So let me just launch that poll for you. So I'm just interested in your opinion. What percentage of businesses do you think aren't using AI specifically in sales? Is it 40%? Is it 50%? Is it 60%, 70, or 80%? And this is a research that was done by this company, Newswise. So yeah, just there's no right or wrong answer. Well, there is a right answer, but it's just your perspective and opinion at this point. I'd love to hear, what do you think that number is? So just give you a minute to complete that. We've got 76%. You're 16 out of 21. 17 out of 21 of you have done it. We're at 77%, 80%. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody. Excellent. Okay, Rosa, what do you think it is?
I'm gonna say that probably about 40%.
40%. Okay, good. So let me share the results. This is what you think. You think the group that we've got on the call, 5 of you, 28% of you think it's 50%. 5 of you think it's 70%. Next highest scores are 40% and 60%, and then a couple of you think it's 80%. Brilliant. Thank you. Surprisingly, it is 80%. 80% of businesses, when this research was conducted in February of this year, said that they weren't using AI in sales.
Crazy.
There was some AI being used, but not in the sales function. So really, really interesting.
Oh, okay.
So we've got this huge gap, and today probably is why a lot of people have joined the call to help us to really try and work it out. Second poll for you. I thought it'd be fun to have a second one as well. So let me get the next poll up. Next poll is about, by what percentage do you think AI tools boost sales productivity, specifically in terms of time freed up for salespeople to then use that time with customers? So this poll, different again, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60. There are a couple of research sources for this. There's the company Gong. Everyone, I'm sure you heard of Gong. They do a lot of AI productivity sales tools, and Aviso, which is a research company. So I'd be interested to know what you think. So 20, 30, 40, or 50, or 60. So, okay, we've got, good. We've got everybody's answered. Thank you very much. Let me just, sorry, no, hold on. Yeah, perfect. Okay. This is what you think. So because I went 80% on the last one, I tricked you. So a lot of people have gone 60% this time because you thought there's a trend to spot, right? We have to remember that trends aren't always consistent. So 53% of you think 60%, 21% of you think 40%, 11% of you think 50%, and the rest think 30 or 20%. So if you answered either 40 or 50%, you were both right, because those two research studies, Gong found it's 50% and Aviso found it was 40%. So you've got two options there, somewhere between 40 and 50%. So we've got some questions coming in. What I'll do is, if you're okay, I'll handle questions at the end so that we make sure we get through all of the content. But I'll come back, and if you've got questions as we go through, please do feel free to put them in the chat, and we will cover them as we go through. Okay, thanks everybody for that. Hopefully useful kind of insights for you around what's happening. Interesting also that research shows that salespeople, this is pre-AI, salespeople spend just 35% of time actually selling. So the other 65% of time is made up of all the other stuff that is non-sales activities. And that actually is an interesting stat. I've been aware of that stat for quite a few years now. And it tends to stay around the same level, about 35%. And hopefully AI is going to help change that as we go forward. And you've all come to today's session for, I guess, different insights, different information. I'd love to hear, just from your own perspective, in the chat, if you would, what's one thing you'd like to get from today's session? And Rosa and I will make sure that as we go through our content, we'll look to get you that information so that you get the insights that you arrived today for. It may be that you're here just to hear the general content of today's session, but if there is one thing and you think this is what I want from today, just put it in the chat and we'll make sure that we cover it and give you some ideas around how to improve it. Anne started us off. Thank you, Anne. Appreciate your comment. Okay, so we'll get those in the background and we'll cover this as we come through. So in terms of introducing AI tools, I just wanted to start us off with something, some really simple ideas. And think about simplifying the tool landscape, showing you some quick and easy wins, thinking about it in 4 different categories. So the first category is prospecting and research. Second category is outreach and writing, copywriting, emails, that kind of thing. Third is CRM and forecasting. And then the fourth area is meeting productivity. I just want to share some ideas with you. It'll be quite quick, but I just really want to share, if you're new to AI and you're thinking, where do I start? These 4 key areas are really quite interesting. Thanks for the notes as well, everybody. We'll make sure that we get those. So in terms of prospecting and research, obviously everybody's heard of ChatGPT. It tends to be the go-to. It was the disruptor as AI really started to become more prolific in the working environment that we now know. But in terms of prospecting, there are a few platforms that are really useful. So there's a platform called Clay. And if you haven't heard of it, it's definitely worth checking out because you can get started for free. And you get access to lots of data providers. It does lots of, you've heard this term web scraping, which always sounds a bit weird to me, but it's basically searching and drawing information from the internet. It starts to create AI message drafts and you put everything in a single place. It's quite an interesting platform. And if you haven't looked, it's definitely worth checking out for your teams and just see whether or not it's a fit for what you're looking for in terms of prospecting and research. Second platform that I keep hearing about is Apollo. And Apollo is about finding and researching leads, personalizing messaging to those leads, and running launch campaigns that can be put together really quickly. Especially once you get your first campaign together, it becomes really easy to just keep replicating that campaign and amending it and adjusting it. And then finally, of course, I'm sure you're all using LinkedIn. It's probably where you saw about this. You saw details about this webinar. And LinkedIn Sales Navigator, if you haven't checked out Sales Navigator, it's really worth a look because Sales Navigator has now started to use all sorts of AI technology to help with not only searching and refining lead generation, but also starting to give you insights around what prospective customers look like for you and building out target lists automatically. So it starts to prompt you rather than you having to go into LinkedIn and look for stuff. In Sales Navigator, it's starting to drive that information to you. So it's making suggestions and it's much more intuitive. And for prospecting and research, I would definitely recommend the combination of those tools, but check them out and see what you think. And then, of course, we've got ChatGPT, which I find ChatGPT is really good for validating all of the other information that I'm finding. Rosa, how about you? What prospecting and research, is there something that you found is particularly useful?
Yes, of course. What I usually use is I use the deep research on ChatGPT when you want to go in depth and look into several websites and really, really get a lot of course, the links to make sure that they're right.
Mm.
But I usually, for my day to day, there is the thinking part of ChatGPT 5.0.
Yeah,
That will give you, believe it or not, that will go into LinkedIn and find your leads, find the titles. So right now, it didn't do it before, but even just with thinking, if you say, give me these personas at this company, it will go into LinkedIn and other websites and find you the names. And
that's
I
clever.
found that being very, very accurate.
Yeah, thanks, Rosa. And Rosa, that's without Sales Navigator, right? That is ChatGPT. Just
Without Sales Navigator, just
yeah,
ChatGPT. So I'm right now considering Sales Navigator is quite expensive. They continue to fight with each other and bring you more and more and more. So every
yeah.
day, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Rosa. That's a really good tip. It's one that I hadn't considered for today, but using ChatGPT, identifying a target client, asking it to profile the people in it and bringing back the search return from LinkedIn. That's a really great idea. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So that's prospecting and research. Then we start to think, once you have identified your prospective client, how do we go about outreach, the right kind of messaging and copywriting? And I'm with Rosa. ChatGPT is really, really good for this. I would also, there's a couple of tools that I've become familiar with. One is called Lavender. So Lavender helps, I'm sure you heard of SDRs and AEs, right? So sales development reps and account execs to write effective emails. It improves reply rates. And it's really interesting because it's got this algorithm where it's measuring all of the different messages that are being sent through Lavender by sales teams. And it's using machine learning to continually improve the emails, templates, and response rates by just iterating and iterating continuously. And when I started to kind of look at it, I thought, wow, you can see how this is going to help. And it talks about doubling response rates within a short period as a week to two. So really, definitely worth having a look at Lavender. And then the other platform I've become familiar with is copy.ai. This really does help with, they call it, you can see why sometimes AI can get confusing because you look at the way that they talk about it here, infuse AI across your go-to-market engine with a single platform. It's like, what does that even mean, right? So they're feature dumping from the start. But what I've seen it does do here is it looks at the sales process, the different steps with your customers, and it's a single point of AI reference that then helps you across multiple different touch points. So I've got a couple of clients that are using this. They say it's very, very useful, very, very effective. So we've got Lavender and Copy AI alongside ChatGPT. Rosa, what about you? What's your experience?
So yes, I use this as well. Lavender has been very helpful for me because you always hear that 70% of an email that you send out there is about the subject.
Yeah.
And I've learned, not to get huge subjects, not to use question marks. So there's a lot of really helpful tools, and it helps you bring that huge email that you send into really,
Mm.
concrete 3, 4 line emails. The other one that I use a lot is Perplexity for the actual writing. Believe it or not, I go back and forth. And lately, Perplexity has really helped me out with content.
Mm.
I like it even better than ChatGPT at times. Is able to write better because Claude on writing seems to just have more of it sounds less like a machine, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
And
More human,
so,
more human.
yeah, so it has become my favorite lately. But, things change all the time.
Yeah, there's another one for the list, folks. So Perplexity. Thanks, Rosa. That's really good, really useful. So hopefully some ideas here about different tools that you can start to check out. And then we've got meeting productivity. So there's lots of different tools. I'm sure you've seen lots of different tools around meeting productivity. So we're on Zoom here, and a while back, Zoom introduced what they call the AI Companion 3.0. So as a result of today's session, just by having Zoom AI turned on, it will give me all of the details of this meeting, summary, action points, and all the notes. And in the follow-up to today's session, I'll happily share that Zoom AI transcription with you, or the details of the meeting. And I found that from a meeting productivity perspective, you're not having to take the copious notes that you used to when you're on an online meeting. Just frees up your mind to actually be present with the client and not just be constantly scratching the notes down on a pad, which gives you better connection with the client on the meeting. There's also this platform called Fathom. I don't know if you've seen Fathom, but Fathom is interesting. You get a free trial with it. In fact, you get a number of free minutes every month. And Fathom records your meetings and then does the summaries, but also breaks it down into clips. So as you get the summary, you can actually click, jump to the different stages of the meeting based on the transcription. So Fathom's a really interesting tool. If you haven't tried it, definitely worth a trial of Fathom. And then the other meeting productivity tool I use is called Otter. You might have seen Otter arrive in meetings yourselves, but you get all sorts with Otter: live transcriptions, summaries, actions, all of that good stuff, AI templates. And the thing I also love about Otter is that it is available as an app on your phone. So with Otter, you can click the Otter app, you can talk into it, it transcribes and it captures the voice note. And then you can then start to use that to either remind yourself short memos, or you can use it for meeting updates. You can use it to capture notes after client meetings or in client meetings. Really, really useful. And John's just saying iClerk is great for meetings also. So iClerk is another one to check out.
I've used Otter. It's very, very good.
I've
used them in team meetings, sales meetings. That way, when all my sales teams are making comments, sometimes you'd miss some of them or have somebody taking notes. So I just have it on my phone running, and it does really work fantastically.
This is iClerk, Amin, is it? iClerk.
Otter.
Otter, yeah, Otter. Yeah. I love Otter. And the other thing about these tools is that you can use them for meetings, but you can also, if ever you're in a situation where you haven't got a notepad, or you could just, with Otter, you can just do a quick short voice note. It's really useful. It kind of just gives you that ability to capture your details, and then it'll write it up and you can copy and paste it to yourself. It's really, really good. Thanks, Amin. And then finally, I just wanted to, I'm sure you know this about Teams already, but Microsoft Teams tends to be the go-to Office 365 platform for a lot of businesses. There is a function in Teams, I had to find it, where you can, as you're in a meeting, obviously you can record the meeting, but you can also transcribe it. So you go up to it's well hidden. There are 3 dots at the top of the page in Teams. You go to more, you click on record and transcribe, and one of them's recording, the other one is start transcribing. And then it will do live transcription in the meeting. And then after the meeting, of course, that's saved in your Teams tab. So that's quite useful. But you have to go, these things, you have to go hunting for them. They're not always as obvious as you think they might be. Rosa, meeting productivity.
Well, there is one that it wasn't here, and I'm not sure if it's coming, but something that I am terribly addicted to. It's called Gamma. Have you guys used Gamma for PowerPoint presentations? It is one of the best so far. I just write down something from ChatGPT and said, I need to do a specific training for this specific company, blah, blah, blah. And then I copy paste it. And the AI in Gamma has become so good.
Wow.
I do that a lot. The other thing is a little trick. If you're a solopreneur like me, and sometimes you just don't want to pay for another tool, you can literally just use your recorder on your phone now. And I transfer the audio to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will transcribe it for free as well. Completely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just
I was surprised at this the other day. Yeah. I just upload the audio and it's like, it gives you a transcription. Now, for me, because I use Spice and Medic and specific frameworks for different customers, I tell them, according to Medic, tell me how was this call? And that kind of helps me because it's already on ChatGPT for me, right? When I'm with a customer one-on-one and I'm recording it on my phone. And I usually say, do you mind if I record it? I don't want to be taking notes. And people will let you do that. Yeah. So just for the people that are tired of paying for tools.
I love that. Thank you, Rosa. Rosa, how do I spell Gamma? Is it Gamma?
Gamma. Please
GAA.
use it. You can use it. And the thing with me is I have my CMO, so I write something and she gets in and it's collaborative. So it's like Google Docs, right? People
Yeah.
can work with you at the same time.
Brilliant. So, oh, right. Excellent. I love that. I'm just going to put that as a note.
Oh, you love it. I'm totally addicted to it lately.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Rosa. So what the other thing I'll do from today is we've got all the chat that's going on in our chat bar here. I'll make sure that chat is included in the follow-up message, so you've got access to the chat as well. Thanks, Rosa. That's really, really useful. And then so let's just think about a couple other things, and I'm just going to ask Rosa to share some of her experience. So when we start to think about leveraging AI for growth, the way I think about leveraging AI for growth is that where we are right now, any task that for you personally or for your teams, if you're leading a team, any task that's repetitive, administrative, time consuming, not focused on growth or low value to you, and finally kind of draining mentally or not aligned with your optimal performance. You know, there is a history in sales, and I always remember early in my sales career where there were those tasks that you don't like doing. It takes a lot of personal discipline to keep on top of them, but it also takes a lot of energy. And you know, if you've been out selling all day and then you come home, the last thing you want to do for most people is all the administrative tasks, because that's the point at which your batteries run down and you're like, how do I get this? How do I get on top of this? And as well as personal discipline, what I see now is that AI is the answer. And so as you go along, start to think about, you know, going forward from here, any of these different areas, anything that's administrative, find a way to capture it in a voice note. Anything that's repetitive, find a way to train an AI tool to start to pick that up for you. Anything that takes longer than it should, start to train an AI, you know, whether that's ChatGPT or Copilot, start to train it on those activities and ask it to create shortcuts for you. Anything that doesn't add value to you in your role, start to think, is there another way to utilize AI or automation? And this is kind of my default now is, as I start any task, I'm asking myself, can I get AI to do this? Is there a way to automate this task? And I think you'd be really surprised at just how much can be outsourced now to AI. And I think this is going to help us to become much more customer focused and to spend more time on those critical sales growth activities. Rosa, what your thoughts?
For me, all of these, of course,
Yeah.
but in addition, something that's helped me a lot lately is I turn on the microphone and AI can help you brainstorm. And brainstorming for me has always been so important because now, especially when you're remote, back in the day in the office, you used to go like, hey, what do you think about this? Right? And go to the office next door when we used to work for 3M. People had
Yeah.
an opinion. Now, when you're in a solopreneur, I turn on my microphone and I pretend I'm in the office and I said, I'm having difficulty with this issue. What are the 10 things that you would recommend to me?
Mm.
And it will come up with 10 things. Sometimes it's great and sometimes not, but most of the time, it will give you something that you can use. The other part that I have used a lot is, again, with microphone, because I tend to want to speak more than write, is I need to write a response to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm upset, for example. You know, this person didn't do the work that they needed to do, they didn't complete it. So I just talk, right? And then I said, now say it with a nice voice, with, you know, being polite, you know, my voice, make it friendly. And it's just, I'm like, wow, that sounds much better than when I just spoke it out. So it really is like, not like a therapy, but it can
Yeah.
be a true companion for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brainstorming, hey, what is a better way to say this to somebody that just didn't do their job or
Yeah.
work or commitment that they had to do for you?
Yeah. I really love that, Rosa, because you remember they used to say when you're feeling emotional or you're angry, do you remember
Yes,
this? Type
yes,
email out and then don't send it. Wait until the
right.
morning.
Yes, and now it's like type it out and then send it to ChatGPT. I'm like, make it now, politically correct or nice or
Yeah,
whatever you want to say, right? The
yeah,
tone that you want it to have it. And it has helped me. Wow. Before I used to spend hours cleaning every word. And that has really been a
yeah.
lifesaver for me.
Totally agree. It saves you 12 hours, right? You don't have to wait until the morning. ChatGPT will do the softening for you, will do all the thinking for you instead of overnight in 5 minutes. And then one other thing I'm thinking about when you think about leveraging AI for growth, we think about I ask myself two questions when it comes to sales activities. How do I minimize non-customer facing time, all the administration, all the other stuff that we have to do in sales? And even though I'm a coach and a consultant, I still see myself as being in sales, firmly in sales. And how do I maximize customer facing time? And that's always been a question. These two questions have always been questions I've asked. And it's not until AI has really started to help, because we thought with the internet and email it was going to make things easier. I don't know about you, but I've actually found that can consume more time, whether it's research or emails inbound. But AI really is starting to make a difference and cut through in terms of minimizing non-customer facing time, maximizing customer facing time. So last slide for me, and then I'm going to hand over to Rosa. I think about best practice and daily sales productivity. So I start to think, where can we use it? Email management, exactly as Rosa said. If you've got a tricky email or emails that sometimes come in and you think, oh, how do I handle this? Ask AI. There are also some AI tools to manage your email inbox as well, where they'll start to pre-draft and give you initial responses to emails, so you don't have to do that all yourself as well. So that's really useful. So AI on email management. Any queries and questions that you get, start to pre-train some of the AI tools so that it can identify frequently asked questions and queries, so that you can start to preempt the responses to those as well. Social media content. If you're, and I love this, because very often with social media, you think, what am I going to post? Where do I go next? You can ask AI, your ChatGPT, to say, right, map out a week's worth of social media content for me. You can even say map out the next month, and it will give you all these ideas. And then it just makes sure, very often that social media, the idea generation is the bit that can kind of sometimes stump people, but it's really useful for doing that. And of course, creating the content. Presentation content, as Rosa said, whether that's the content or the actual presentation, but really good for those ideas where you want to pull something together. Customer problems, resolving customer problems, follow-up messages, and thinking, okay, how do I follow this up in the right way? I want to keep the urgency on this opportunity or with this customer, but also want it to be personal and relevant. Internal requests. If you've got a lot of internal stuff coming at you, think about, how do I use AI to improve the sales productivity? And of course, I'm a fan of templates. That's even more easy now that we've got AI. So all these document and response templates, so it's kind of at your fingertips really, really easily. Okay. Rosa, anything from a daily sales productivity before I hand over to you for your slides?
No, I think you have this pretty well done. I like it.
Thanks, Rosa. Okay, Rosa, I'd love for you to share, because I've seen your slides, some really interesting ideas here. So let me hand over to you.
So I always start with the idea that there's three types of AI for sales, and depending on how invested you are and how advanced you are, you're gonna find that you can use AI to just retrofit your current workflow, right? You have a workflow and you do these things every day, and you can augment, you can improve with productivity, and you do some retrofit, like an email template instead of writing the same email over and over again. The other way you can use it, and it's a little bit more advanced, is actually using the assistant AI. At this point, things like analyzing my sales call. I use Better Proposals, for example. It is already done. They already have the template, but you're starting from scratch with an AI. So you're not changing the workflow and adding AI on top, but you're actually using an AI tool. And the other one is what's coming up, and I think what Justin is going to be talking about, is the autonomous AI. That is that sales avatar. For example, I have a bot that answers a lot of the questions that I usually answer on my website. So that is the autonomous AI that is actually programmed to continually learn from you. And you're going to see that a lot of companies are creating their own workflows, their own LMs, which means that they have their own libraries, their own advisors. McKinsey just talk about the advisor that they have in their own company, where the advisor collects all the information and just brings it up to the tip of the fingers when they want to pull it out. But that has been built almost like coded specifically for that company. So those are the three types of sales. Next, please. Now, I always start with some of the old habits that we have and how AI can help us unlearn those skills and sharpen them up. So next, please. The first one that I'm going to talk about is the recording calls and transcripts. I still train people and they still hear, I don't want to record my calls because customers don't like it. It's too invasive. You know, there's a big brother alert there. A lot of people go and meet one-on-one and they don't want to ask, do you mind if I record it on my phone? And it's just a matter of asking, right? We're in sales. It's all about asking and people telling you no. Don't feel like it's invasive. We are all using it. And it actually, the way I presented it is, I want to be listening to you. I don't want to be spending time writing down here. And that way my eyes remain on the customer and they're not writing down, asking questions or interrupting the workflow. Because, when you're doing that kind of empathy or listening and mirroring, you don't want to stop by writing. So the reality checks is we're all doing it, and use AI to record and connect with the customer. Use the silence, use the listening, use the empathy. So you have to ask, that's correct. Always ask, do you mind if I record it? Because I wanted to listen to you specifically, right? And people are doing more and more. I have never told no to that so far. Well, I was in my teachers conference and they say no, nothing comes out of the school, but that was the only time that they've told me no. Next, please. Next, Justin. Yes.
Oh,
so
sorry,
the
yeah,
follow-ups and proposals. I'm going to tell you this. They all have it. Oh, thank you for your time. I'll follow up next week. Here is the PDF of my company. Bad habit altogether. We have AI now. This shows that you're putting very little effort and engagement. Stop sending the I'll follow up. It happens to me from time to time. I'm like, oh, I'll just send you the information. The way AI works is if you train AI with the framework and methodology that you use, because you still have to use a framework in sales, right? So say, this is a transcript. Find the actual pain that the customer talked about, right? The pain, the need, the critical event, and create the PDF and create the presentation, the proposal specifically for what they talked about. Don't send your generic presentation. You can actually do it. And with Gamma, I literally download the transcript, pass it through the methodology, upload it back to Gamma, and the presentation is specifically to what they wanted. And here's the most important part. If you hear the customer that tells you, because I go back and said, did I capture everything that you mentioned on the next meeting? They will tell you, you got it. That's right. If you hear those words like, you got it, that's right, you know that you've captured what they have been trying to tell you. That it's huge. Next, please, Justin. Okay. This gut instinct, my gosh, I am a gut instinct salesperson, right? It's like, oh, I have the gut that they're gonna buy from me. Oh, they might not buy from me. I walk into a customer and I'm like, I think they're gonna buy from me. And somebody else says, that doesn't sound like it. And there's always this debate. Well, no more gut instinct. Everything should be data driven. we relied on charm on relationship a lot, which we are, right? And it still counts. But buyers now like transparency with data. So what I usually do is bring all the old recordings that you have, especially if you're managing sales teams. Bring the recordings that John had for the last 3 months and find out why he's not meeting his quota. It is very telling. AI will tell you if you use a methodology, let's say Spiced or Medic or a strategic selling, whatever you want, train your AI to see if they're actually using the training that you gave them. And you can use an analysis with AI, load all the recordings over there and say, tell me what John has not been doing and why he has not been able to meet quota. It is amazing how this data will help you come back to John. And I'm just saying John, so hopefully nobody's John here, but you go back to John and say, it seems like you started to pitch at minute 5 and you were supposed to pitch at minute 30, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to find the most. They start to pitch without asking the pain or the questions. So that's going to be really data driven. Then the next one,
Yeah.
John is funny. Stop picking on me. That's correct. One size fits all pitches and demos. Again, stop with the PowerPoint presentation that starts talking about you and about my company. Go ahead and bring the demo. Do a 3-page that is specific for the company, right? Now with ChatGPT, you can actually say, I want to talk to this company. Look at all the recordings, look at all the presentations on LinkedIn, look at all their 10Ks, and tell me what is the biggest strategy that the CEO is working on.
Mm.
Everything that happens in a company, it's trickled down from something that the CEO is about to do. Whether the CEO is about to go into a new market, or the CEO says, we're going to save money, or we're going into a digital transformation. Use that information and make your pitch and your demo just for that. This is why you have AI and you have the research. And spend the time doing the storytelling, because AI won't do the storytelling for you. So this is where we put humanity and we mix it with AI and we create this amazing offering, which is work on the data, the features just for the customer, and then spend the rest of the time creating the most amazing story, the storytelling, because at the end of the day, that's what they're going to remember the most. Next, please.
Love that. Thank you, Rosa. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. And then targeted engagement. Believing that more activity equals more sales. There's still a lot of sales managers that I train that start thinking, how many calls did you make? How many emails did you send? Right? And we all know that with AI, you can send 100 emails. And now, more than ever, right, activity does not equal sales. I used to, but even back in the time with you and I, Justin, we used to go on the streets and sell.
Yeah.
We would see people full of activity, and I would be like, what's going on here? The other thing that they all have it that I hear is, I don't want to do all this work because all the customer wants is product and price, right? And that's an excuse that I still hear. Well, the customer just wants to, I don't want to do the whole discovery. I don't want to do the research on AI because the customer just wants to see the product. They just want to see the demo. That is one of the biggest mistakes you're going to have, because you're going to go through the demo, you're going to go through the proposal, and then the ghosting. Well, I can guarantee you the ghosting is coming if you jump directly into a demo. Why? Because you never really learned what was happening. So use AI to summarize the pains and what the customer is interested, and do the target engagement. So every email that you send out, and Lavender will help you, make sure that is relevant to your customer. It has to be real. And you know what I use? I go to ChatGPT and said, go find the 3 words the CEO said the most in the last presentation. And those 3 words are tone words, are words that speak their language. AI will say they use these 3 words 30% of the time. And instead of calling it transformation, I'm going to call it shift. Whatever they call it, I call it. Learn, target that engagement, speak their language, use their words. And now, before when I was in sales, I had to like listen carefully and write all these words. Now I don't have to do that. Now I can listen and AI will give me those keywords for those. And remember, it is about influencing, right? So use AI to help you influence the sale, influence the customer by talking their way, using their words, having their sentiment very clear. Next, please.
I love that. Thank you, Rosa. Really
Thank
good.
you. So this is what I'm saying. It's time to unlearn what has worked for us all the time and really embrace some of these tools, because again, it just leaves you that time when you meet with a customer to go into the storytelling, to go into the empathy, to go into the mirroring, to go into the active listening. Nobody can multitask. Nobody can present and write and do this and listen at the same time. It will change. It will, believe me, it will change every interaction that you have with a customer if you get AI to do all the other things and just stay present for that customer. Is the intersection between humanity and AI. Next, please. I think that's it. I think that's all I needed to say.
Thank you, Rosa. Wow. Okay, so some great insights there. I love those. You know, the finding the CEO speech. What are the key words? Making sure you're using those words back. And there's some things here that just aren't obvious for people, right? Unless you're steeped in AI or really engaged in it. Okay, I'd love to just give us a chance to think about. I'm going to share with you. We've got this AI sales coach, and it's basically a custom AI GPT. I don't know if anybody has had experience with custom GPTs, but it's a chat GPT ecosystem, but it's been trained, this specific custom GPT has been trained on the Inspire, Influence, Sell methodology. It's got all of our sales toolkit, training content, articles that we write, and it really is. So it goes there for its kind of primary source of information, rather than just looking generically at the source data within ChatGPT. So I'd love to hear if someone's got a specific sales challenge, and we can hack it with AI live here and now. I've got a couple of things that came up earlier in the comments, so we could pick one of those. But if someone's got something specific that you kind of is in your mind at the moment, I'd love to hear some ideas. Anyone got something they'd like us to work on today? You can either raise a hand or you can drop it in the chat if you're feeling shy. Feel free to come up with anything. And if you haven't got something, I'll share something myself. So has anybody got anything that they'd like us to work on today? You're on mute, by the way. If you're trying to talk right now, you're on mute. Anybody got anything? It's all right. I'm always prepared for this. So let's. If you haven't got anything, let me just take you. Let me just grab a page. Hold on a sec. Let me grab the page for our AI, and let me show you what it looks like. I'm sure you're all familiar with ChatGPT. So this is how it looks. So once you've got the sales coach up, It's really simple text box, as you'll be familiar with in ChatGPT, and you can ask it anything. I'll share with you one that I asked it about recently. So I'm going to say I have a client who was engaged and is now ghosting me. That is one of the most common pieces of feedback I get from salespeople that I work with. Okay. And then I'll say, what would you recommend? Okay. And what it's going to do now is access all of the different information in the background. It's going to specifically look at the models and the sales process. So here it comes, right? So it's a common and frustrating scenario. It's one that Inspire, Influence, Sell, the book directly addresses with the proposal, agreement, and immediate action stages. So it's going to say, step one, diagnose where the process broke down. Okay. When a client goes quiet, it's almost always because the proposal you made, i.e. the closing stage, wasn't fully complete. Okay, then it will say, here's some stuff around sending proposals. Did we do that in the right way? Have we agreed on value? Did I check in emotionally where the client was, right? Did I understand? Did I read the emotions? Then it's going to say, right, we need to rebuild momentum through value, not pressure. Really important this, because what I hear very often when we talk about ghosting, I say, well, how have you followed up? Very often it's, have you made a decision yet? That's not a value-based question. That's a pressure-based question, right? So it starts to give you some ideas, right? Instead of chasing or guilt tripping or just checking in emails, go back to the earlier stages in the sales process. What were the needs you discovered? And then send something that reawakens relevance. So it gives you a draft of an email, something that you might be able to send as a message. Then it will say change the channel. So sometimes ghosting is bandwidth, right? So maybe try LinkedIn or maybe try a voicemail instead of just emailing somebody, or maybe try a call, right? And then I'm sure you've all heard this phenomenon called the breakup email, where very often, what this does is it taps into people's desire to not break up. So when we give someone that kind of, okay, well, shall we just call it there then? That tends to, we have this loss aversion as human beings. It tends to trigger the loss aversion. So then what someone will say, well, hold on, I'm not so sure we're ready to just call it a day. We're still considering it, or something else is happening. So the breakup email or the breakup message can be really powerful. Then it talks about reflecting so that you can get a better process in place next time you go through this process. And of course, reframing selling as serving rather than trying to just sell a product. We're really trying to serve that client in the best way possible. And then you'll see, like it's saying, would you like me to draft a re-engagement message? All these other things. So let me just check. Is there anything else? So let's have a look at, is there anybody else got anything they'd like us to cover? You'll see up here also that it's going to, when we go into the sales coach from the start, it also prompts, it says, would you like to look at some of these other areas? But has anyone else got anything they'd like to road test it on, just from a thinking perspective, or to give you some ideas today? Anybody got anything?
Justin, I think somebody, I don't know if it's for the ChatGPT, but somebody was asking about how to use AI to improve forecasting and productivity. I don't know if it's So wanted to touch that before the end of the meeting.
Yeah. Do you want to comment on that, Rosa?
Yeah, I would love to comment on that one.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So this is one of the things that I've been working a lot with, on how to improve forecasting. This is very important. The key for improving forecasting is to make sure that the account or the deal is in the right stage of your customer journey, correct? Because you have different sales stages. You have your conversion rate from MQL to SQL, and then you have your conversion rate to an opportunity, and then your conversion rate from proposal to close. The biggest problem in forecasting is the salesperson tries to push it directly into, oh, we're ready in proposal, or it stays at the qualification for 365 days. And you're like, what is this doing here? And so, and of course, they're going to tell you it's closing next month, it's closing next quarter. But the only way that they can move that deal is if you get the recordings and you ask ChatGPT, this is the exit criteria that goes from qualification to opportunity. You literally, all you have to do is you upload that PDF of your sales process, which you should have. If not, you can call us, or the specific exit criteria for that process where the deal should be or should not be. And ChatGPT will tell you, no, we did not find the emotional impact. Well, the ROI was not proven, so the proposal should have not been sent. And now you can tell with data, you can tell your salesperson, it seems like this deal needs to go back into qualification. And that goes to a different conversion rate. And at the beginning, when you start cleaning up your CRM like that, it's very painful because sales will look like they are going down. And we don't like it, right? Because you're going to get yelled at by, what? You used to have like this huge quota and now it's this little. But it is actually will give you, I have gotten up to 80% better forecast, but just putting the deals on the right place. But then the only way you can do this is with the data from the calls, from the emails, and AI will tell you, nope, I'm not going to pick on John anymore, but Patrick did not finish all these exit criteria before sending the proposal. So this will help you not only clean up your CRM, have a better conversation with your sales team, but also improve your forecasting significantly.
Yeah, great. Great. Thank you, Rosa. I'm conscious of time. We're at 1 minute to the hour. Those of you who want to hang on, do hang on. If you've got to go, I appreciate you've got to go. Paul just made a suggestion. How about help me plan my day and recommend the best time for cold calling versus follow-up versus admin? So I've just put that in the background, Paul, thank you for the suggestion. Perfect. Let me share the output from that so that you can see what it said. Here's the suggestion, and remembering that this is all about giving you some ideas, just getting you to think perhaps a little differently. So it says it likes to reference me. Let's plan your day using Justin Lee's Inspire Sales System and the Prepare To framework and the Mindset Program. So it says, step 1, prime your mind and do your preparation. Your mindset affects your ability to influence other people. Have some kind of morning ritual that gets you in the zone first thing. Step 2, time block your day. So you've got 15 minutes 30 to 45 minutes for preparation. Then your cold calling starts at 9. Why cold calling at 9? Because decision makers are most available and mentally fresh in the morning. Catch them before the day fills up. 11 to 12, follow-ups and pipeline progress, because you've got momentum from your calls. You can now quickly follow up on warm interest or book next meetings. 12 to 1 is admin and CRM updates. Then take your break at lunchtime. 2 to 4, follow-ups, proposals, and client calls, because clients are back from lunch, inboxes are lighter, and you can handle warm discussions more effectively. And then close each day with admin, planning, and reflection. So as a kind of general rule of thumb, quite useful for a day. And then you can see it's saying, as you think about your weekly rhythm, Monday planning and pipeline, Tuesday heavy cold calling and prospecting, Wednesday client meetings and follow-ups, Thursdays proposals and deeper discovery, Friday reflection, administration, gratitude calls. Calling a client to say thank you for your business, thanks for the work that we do together. Really useful for our own kind of mental health and energy in sales as well. Brilliant. Thanks for the question, Paul, and looks like some useful information in the background. So let me just final couple of things before we close. Apologies, we've run over. If you'd like to, I think most of you will know Rosa and I by now, but if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, here's my LinkedIn profile. If you'd like to connect with Rosa, just let me put Rosa's in the chat as well. Let's put Rosa's in there. If you'd like to connect with us, feel free to do so. If you'd like to contact us, you see Rosa's, let me put Rosa's email there. Rosa's email is here too. If you'd like to get in contact with us, please do feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. One final thing before we close, for those of you who are still on, I'd love to take a quick picture for social media. Are you all up for that?
Yay!
Is that all right? Yeah. So would you mind just turning your cameras on? For those of you who haven't got cameras on, would you mind just turning your cameras on if you can? And then I'll take a quick picture. I'm just going to give you
look at Simon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
just
John
get
and I,
Simon.
because we're best
Perfect.
friends. John and I are best friends.
Perfect, Simon. Thank you. So yeah, if you can get to your camera, please do, and I'd love to take a picture of you. Otherwise, I'm just going to get your name on the camera. Right, let me give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So thank you, everybody. So ready on 3, 2, 1. Big smile. And oh, wonderful. You all look absolutely marvelous. Thank you so much. Okay, great. We'll put, I'll be sending you through the recording of this session and the slides. We'll get those over to you probably tomorrow now or sometime over the weekend. And then we'll put a post on Monday on LinkedIn and we'll tag you all in on it. So if you are good enough to share your key takeaways on that post, that'd be great as well. Rosa, huge thanks to you for joining me. You've shared some amazing insights today. It's been a wonderful session. It really has. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have, and I know as much as Rosa will have done as well. And any final words, Rosa, before we wrap up?
No, just again, if you want to learn a little bit more of AI, or let me know. And it has been a true pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend when you get there, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.